My wife cheated on me with my best friend. But when I caught them, they both laughed and said, "We've been waiting for you to open your eyes for a long time. How much longer will it take for you to live true to yourself?" I honestly don't know where to begin. Maybe I'll start from the moment my life fell apart a few months ago. I apologize if this post is too long, but I need to get everything off my chest. I was supposed to be at work all day, but I forgot an important file, so I drove home at lunchtime to get it. I vividly remember having a strange premonition on the way back, an inexplicable anxiety, though at the time I couldn't explain why I felt so uneasy. When I unlocked the door and stepped inside, everything seemed normal at first. The living room was quiet. Only the hum of the air conditioner could be heard. I hurried upstairs, intending to grab the file from my study. However, as I reached the bedroom door, my heart sank. The door was slightly ajar, and inside, my wife and my best friend were entangled on the bed. For the first few seconds, I was too stunned to speak. The scene before me was like a punch to the gut. My wife, the woman I had been married to for 7 years, was in our bed with my best friend, whom I had always considered a brother. They were almost naked. Clothes were scattered on the floor. My wife frantically pulled the covers over herself, while Jake casually sat up, even letting out a laugh. Emily gave a weak smile too, as if I were nothing but a joke to them. My face burned with shock and rage. I gripped the file folder so tightly my knuckles turned white. Finally, I found my voice and roared, "What the hell is going on?" My wife flinched, hastily wrapping the blanket around herself. Jake remained nonchalant, as if nothing serious had happened. I bellowed, "Are you two crazy? What disgusting thing are you doing?" Jake slipped on his shirt, glanced at me and then at Emily, then sighed and said in a cold voice, "We've been waiting for you to open your eyes for a long time. How much longer will it take for you to live true to yourself?" I froze. What the hell was he talking about? Live true to myself. I stared at him, then at Emily. She looked at me, a sad smile playing on her lips as if I were the pathetic one. What do you mean?" I stammered, my heart pounding. "What's wrong with you two? Are you insane?" Jake shrugged and stepped forward, about to put a hand on my shoulder, but I recoiled as if burned. He calmly said, "We've been waiting for you to realize the truth for a long time now. Honestly, we both hope you'll wake up soon and live true to who you are. How long are you going to keep deceiving yourself?" My head was spinning. I couldn't believe the absurdity of his words. He was having an affair with my wife, and now he was lecturing me about living true to myself. The audacity. Every emotion, pain, anger, confusion, humiliation, surged through me at once. I let out a cry of rage and lunged forward, punching Jake squarely in the face. He stumbled, and Emily screamed. I roared in fury, "Get out! Get the hell out of my house, you bastards!" Jake, dazed, grabbed his pants and Emily's hand, and they both scrambled out of the room. They were gone. I stood alone in the disheveled room, gasping for breath, my chest aching as if squeezed in a vice. I collapsed onto the floor, my back against the edge of the bed. The crumpled sheets, the disarrayed pillows, a cruel tableau of betrayal. My body was numb, my mind blank. Their words about not living true to myself echoed in my head, fueling my anguish. They betrayed me and had the nerve to blame me? I couldn't stay in that room a second longer. I stumbled downstairs, ran to my car, and drove off, tears blurring my vision. I drove aimlessly until I stopped in the parking lot of a deserted park. I buried my face in the steering wheel, my heart twisting. Why them? How could they do this to me? And what the hell did that cryptic statement even mean? The following days were pure hell. The first night in the hotel, I didn't sleep a wink. The image of Emily and Jake intertwined kept flashing before my eyes, accompanied by their laughter and that cruel phrase echoing in my head. I neglected everything. For 2 days, I didn't eat or drink, just huddled in the room, crying until I had no more tears, then lying listlessly staring at the ceiling. I was so distraught that I didn't bother contacting anyone, too ashamed and humiliated to tell anyone what happened. I kept thinking about Emily. I had loved her so much. We had been together for almost a decade, and now she had betrayed me in the cruelest way possible. Then I thought about Jake, the brother I had trusted implicitly, who had stabbed me in the back. All the good memories we shared only intensified my pain. I felt so pathetic and alone. And their words, not living true to myself. Every time I remembered them, I seethed with anger. They deceived me and then acted as if they were right? It was ludicrous. After a few days wallowing in misery, I knew I couldn't stay broken forever. I made an appointment with a lawyer to begin divorce proceedings. Before the appointment, I went back to the house to retrieve the necessary documents. Everything inside was untouched, except for my shattered heart. The wedding photos, the mementos, now only evoked pain. I quickly gathered what I needed and left. Before closing the door, I placed the house keys on the table, a declaration that I would never return. I told myself I had to be strong and move on, even with a broken heart. After meeting with the lawyer, I became even more determined not to let things end so simply. Emily and Jake had blatantly trampled on my feelings, and now they acted self-righteous, uttering cryptic words as if I were the one at fault. I couldn't swallow this humiliation. I wanted them to pay, to regret what they had done. I told the truth to Emily's parents and our close mutual friends. Everyone was shocked and outraged by Emily and Jake's actions, but they all supported and encouraged me. Some even cut ties with them out of sheer disappointment. I also texted Jake directly, telling him that everyone knew his true colors and demanding he stay away from me. The support of my family and friends was a small comfort that helped me not completely collapse during those terrible days. Legally, I knew my wife's infidelity would help me somewhat in the divorce process. With my lawyer's assistance, I drafted a fairly tough divorce settlement. I would keep the house, since I had paid for most of it before the marriage, and we would split our joint savings, with no alimony. When my lawyer sent the agreement to Emily, she contacted me, asking to meet to talk things through. Initially, I didn't want to see her, but then I thought I wanted to look her in the face one last time. We agreed to meet at my lawyer's office, with my lawyer present. That meeting was truly difficult. When Emily walked in, I almost didn't recognize her. My ex-wife looked gaunt, with dark circles under her eyes, her appearance haggard. A flicker of pity arose in me, but I quickly brushed it aside. I coldly asked her what she wanted to say. Emily mumbled an apology. She said she didn't expect my forgiveness, just wanted me to understand that she and Jake hadn't meant to hurt me, that they had also been thinking of me. I was stunned when Emily said, "Jake and I are in love, and we also want you to be happy in your own way." I frowned, confused. Happy in my own way? What did that even mean? Emily choked up, tears welling up, and then she started talking, as if she had been holding it in for a long time, that she felt I had never truly desired her as a husband should, that it seemed like I had married her to avoid something, that she had tried to hold on, but then she met Jake and they shared their concerns about me. "We both realized that maybe you don't like women," she said softly, then lowered her head. My blood boiled. "Shut up." I slammed my hand on the table. "What nonsense are you talking about? Just because I respected you, didn't treat you like a sex object, you conclude I'm gay? That's ridiculous." I yelled in frustration, ignoring my lawyer who was signaling me to calm down. Emily just silently wiped her tears. She whispered, "I'm sorry. I know it's cruel to say these things, but that's the truth we felt. Anyway, I wish you'll find yourself and be happy soon." I couldn't sit there any longer. I stood up abruptly and walked out, ending that pointless meeting. Before leaving, I heard Emily sobbing behind me, but I didn't care anymore. All that remained in my mind was anger and humiliation. Out on the sidewalk, I kicked a trash can hard, ignoring the startled glances of a few passers-by. She wanted me to find myself. She and Jake ruined my life and then acted like they were bestowing some kind of favor on me. I was both resentful and utterly humiliated. I had never felt so angry and ashamed in my life. Haunted by Emily's words, for the first time I forced myself to look inward. It turned out that, since my teenage years, I had vaguely realized I wasn't like other boys. I had a crush on an older guy in high school and felt heartbroken when he got a girlfriend. As I got older, I dated a few girls, but never felt truly passionate. Even when I married Emily, our sex life was bland, and I often avoided intimacy. Occasionally, I would feel my heart skip a beat around a certain man, then quickly tell myself it was just fleeting admiration. I had denied all these signs for years. Now, Jake's image flashed through my mind, and I bitterly realized that my feelings for him had also gone beyond ordinary friendship. The truth was undeniable. I was probably gay, or at least not entirely the normal man I had always pretended to be. Realizing this truth, I completely broke down. I felt disgusted with myself. I hated Emily and Jake, and I hated myself. If only I had been brave enough to live authentically from the beginning, maybe things wouldn't have turned out this way. Emily wouldn't have endured a bland marriage with a distant husband. Jake would still be my good friend instead of a betrayer, and I wouldn't have tormented myself in a false shell for so many years. Negative thoughts consumed me. I spiraled into alcohol and despair. It culminated in a night of drunken loneliness, so desperate that I almost did something foolish. At that moment, a close friend called and pulled me out of the darkness with words of genuine concern. Thanks to that wake-up call, I realized I couldn't continue to self-destruct like this. Through therapy, I gradually learned to accept my true self. The process wasn't easy. There were times I angrily denied it, times I broke down, but eventually, I understood that there was nothing wrong with being me. Step by step, I climbed out of the abyss of depression. I quit drinking, started exercising again, and opened up more to my loved ones. My friends and family stayed by my side. No one turned their back on me when they learned the truth about me. Some even said they had suspected it for a while, but loved me regardless of who I was. Hearing those words, I felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my chest. About 6 months later, my divorce from Emily was finalized. Everything went quietly, without fanfare. I heard that Emily and Jake had moved elsewhere to start over. I didn't care. As far as I was concerned, those two people ceased to exist. I also moved to a new city to start a new life. By joining a support group recommended by my therapist, I connected with many people in the LGBT community and realized I wasn't alone. I'm not ready for a new relationship yet, but I know when love comes, I won't run from it like I did before. Now, writing these lines, I feel lighter than ever. I'm not perfect and still have a lot to learn, but I'm okay. Losing my wife, losing my best friend, a heavy price to pay, but in return, I found myself. I no longer have to live in lies and fear. The future holds many uncertainties, but I believe I will move forward steadily as my true self, no matter what happens.